Hi, I'm Jackie Tantillo, and this is Should Have Listened to My Mother. At the time of this recording, Russian forces have launched additional missile strikes in the eastern region of Kharkiv in Ukraine. Since February 24, 2022, Russian forces have brutally destroyed villages and cities, leaving innocent people dead, homeless, hungry, and frightened, often with nothing but the clothes on their back. Officials say it's impossible to calculate the number of dead. Hundreds of thousands of families have been ripped apart, mothers fleeing with children desperate to find safety, taking refuge in basements, makeshift shelters, and even fleeing to nearby Poland, Slovakia, and the Czech Republic. And yet my guest, Ivan, goes out to the streets regularly to get his fellow Ukrainians' perspective on this senseless war. He describes himself as a workaholic, professional MC, and a self-made man. He's a Ukrainian blogger and has been living in Kyiv for just about 10 years. If you check out his Facebook page about Ukraine, you can find a variety of man-on-the-street-style videos and important and fun facts about Ukraine, including 5 of the most challenging words to pronounce in the Ukraine language. He also has a YouTube page that he's working on, devoting more time to now as well, and Ivan Zaiets is going to tell us all about that. Welcome, Ivan, to Should Have Listened to My Mother.
Hi, thanks for the great introduction. I suppose that I haven't heard it for a long time. Thank you for your job.
Well, I was able to learn so much about you. Before we talk about your mom, your Facebook page is written in Ukraine and Russian, but your YouTube page is what you're focusing on. The YouTube pieces are in English, correct? Okay, so we will go through that because it's not your typical young gentleman's, writings on, especially the Facebook stuff about emergency aid needed for your countrymen. So we will definitely talk about that. But you wrote to me saying you would like to speak about your mom. So can you tell us your mom's name, please?
My mother's name is Tamara.
Tamara.
Yep.
Okay. And is this, you mentioned briefly your grandmother. Is that your maternal grandmother or paternal grandmother?
Eternal, if I understand you.
Your mom's
right?
Side or your father's side?
My mom's side.
Okay, so maternal. Okay,
Maternal.
so Tamara, are you who you are today because of or in spite of your mother?
Mostly everything that I have in my life, it's thanks to mom, and maybe it's quite popular to say in your podcasts, but my relationships with mom impacted not only on my life. Mostly it's connected with my friends' life, because as I remember from my childhood, my mom afforded me to do a lot of things more than my friend's mom. So it's one of the great options that my mom, she didn't limit me for something. So it's one of the great options, and now maybe it helps me to think outside the box.
Did she encourage you to go to school and study hard, or did she leave you to your own devices where she knew that you were capable of maturing and growing on your own? Was she a hands-on mom?
It was by my own, but I saw how she was frustrated after my bad marks at school, and it motivated me more than yelling on me, than crying or something that connected with my mom's feelings. So one of the biggest motivator was like my mom disappeared that I had bad marks of math or physics, because most of my school was was connected with math and physics. So she didn't push me all the time. She told me like, you have to learn and you have to study at school, because it's your way to better world.
That's pretty much the truth, right?
In Ukraine, yep, because I don't know how it happens in your country, but we have quite good education. Mostly, in general, it's connected with university and school. Yeah, it's first of all, we have free education. It's one of the great options. So if you grade with good marks after school, you could have free education in the university. So one of the biggest motivator for me, it was my mom and her words like, we don't have money for your education in the university, because in that moment you have to pay close to maybe $1,000 per year. It's not so much money in your country, maybe, but in that moment, 10 years ago, when I graduated from the school, it was a lot of money for my family.
Oh, absolutely. And the education system in this country higher education is a disaster because it's so expensive, but that's a whole nother podcast.
Yep.
So do you have siblings?
No, I'm one son in the family, okay. And it's I suppose it's a great option. Thanks, my mom.
And was your mom? Tell me, where did you grow up? Were you in a city or a suburb?
Yeah, it's not like it's not like city, it's not like village. Maybe it's I don't know how it's calculated. 300,000 people live in this city. It's city, I suppose. It's Chernihiv, 150 kilometers from the capital of Ukraine.
Okay. And was your mom home, or was she a working mom?
She was more working mom, and it was my mom. She worked, and now she's working a lot. And I suppose that this option that you mentioned before, workaholic, it's something that I that I have from her.
What line of work was she in?
She's not like doctor. She's a nurse.
Okay. And was she working in a hospital or a clinic as you were growing up?
Yeah, all the time. When I was growing up, she used to, and like she worked like a nurse in government clinic. So it's not private clinic, it's government clinic. And in our government clinic, you don't earn so much money. So you could imagine that her salary wasn't so high. And mostly she spent Monday, Friday from 8 till 4 p.m. at work. And sometimes I have to prepare and cook dinner for myself. I have to do something for work, cleaning up, and etc.
And she was working in the government clinic as you were growing up. What is she doing today?
Do the same, but a lot of things has changed for the last maybe 6 years. Mostly, we have medicine reform now in Ukraine for the last maybe, if am I right, maybe for the 6 years, because I don't ask my mom question like this. It's connected with nurse system and everything has changed now. So now she works like nurse, but in different aspects, and she has different abilities.
And has the medical system gotten better? I'm just curious.
Yeah, now
it changed for the better.
As for me, it changed for the better, because mostly before it was built by post-Soviet Union deputies and government. So it worked. But it worked maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, maybe. But as for now, we have to change a lot of things, and our government does it.
So it's not as antiquated. It's more contemporary, updated.
Yep.
Okay, that's good.
Yep.
And what has the Russian influence been on your life? Is it pretty dominant? Is it there? Is it a part of every day, or you don't even think about it?
you could understand this impact only when you try to rid off of this impact. Because when I used to be a child, I didn't mention it at all. So it was like regular childhood, like my mom. But mostly Chernihiv is close to Russia than Kiev and to Belarus. So in general, our impact to Russian impact to Chernihiv could be the same like for Donetsk and Lugansk region, but it was like not so horrible. So it was like fine. Yeah, we had a lot of programs from Russia, like, okay, if you're an active student in that month, if you're an active, not a student, it's schoolmate. Yeah, if you're active in school, you could win a great journey to Bryansk. Okay, Bryansk, it's Russian region. Right. Okay, great. It's like this type of motivation.
Right. So, they were promoting you could be a part of this great Russian culture. You could become a Russian cosmonaut.
Yep. Yep. But all the time when I mention it now, all the time for my friends, for our not for all our teachers, but it happened time to time that Russia, it's like something awesome and miracle. And if you would live in Russia, your life would be better. But it was talked for us only about Moscow and St. Petersburg, not about like small cities. And it was impacted on us slowly, but I don't think that I was under this pressure. It was like all the time we had an internet, and we have an internet now. We could read, we could glance on Russia, we could glance on European Union countries, and we could compare it because it's one of the main options in people's life, comparing.
And your mom, what region was your mom from?
Oh, it's quite interesting because my grandma, she's from Belarus, and my mom, she was born in Belarus too. So my grandpa, he passed away. He was born in Ukraine, and it's quite popular marriage. It was quite popular marriage when, for example, your grandma, she's from Belarus or Russia, and your grandpa, he's from Ukraine, and this connection and blah, blah, blah. And your family became Ukrainian or Belarusian. Chernihiv connected with two regions, with Belarus region and with Russian region. So we like in the middle of everything.
Of everything. Wow. Oh, so much to learn. And again, I thank you, Ivan, for joining us. So your mom, why did she become a nurse?
First of all, I suppose when I asked my mom, she liked all this stuff, that connection with surgery. My mom worked in reanimation, so it's connected with her job. She worked for 2 years, and she was divorced with my dad. So
wait, you said she worked. I'm sorry, you said she worked in what before?
Reanimation, intensive care.
Oh, okay, intensive care, like
she
emergency.
Worked for 2 years.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Emergency stuff, and she know how to save people's life. It's it's quite interesting because I saw it only once in my life when my mom saved life for one man. So I don't know. I suppose that she was a huge fan of medicine in Ukraine, and it was good option and good opportunity for her to start this career.
Her education was very important for her as a young girl. I'm assuming her parents insisted.
But as I know, she quitted her education. She didn't finish it because of my original dad. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it was a huge story of life when she quitted the university and went off
with her lover.
With my dad. Yeah.
Well, she's lucky she did that because she's got you. So that's pretty great. Well, So what is it about your mom, when you think about your mom, what is it, one of her, or many, or some characteristics that really stand out to you?
Um, she's so brave, because I remember it. Maybe I would give a small annotation about this each ability of my mom. Brave because I was growing up without father. So all the time she protected me. Could you imagine that if somebody older than you are could hurt you or insult you? My mom all the time she protected me, and I didn't feel shame of it. So she could kick somebody if somebody kicked me before. So it's all about my mom. It's about brave. Next one, it's open-hearted. All the time she understood me, because when the first time I was 17 and I used to smoke, and my mom realized it when she found the cigarettes on my pocket, and it was like, what is it? And I was feeling like, oh no, it's horrible. I'm not alive for now. Okay. So my life was short like Kurt Cobain. And in that moment, my mom started to have conversation with me. It was like, okay, let's discuss. I could allow you to do it and do wherever you want, but in turn, you have to tell me all about your life. So it was like arrangements. We signed, we reached a special arrangements. So she allows me to do everything that I want. It's connected with alcohol, with maybe some relationships with girls. I don't know, everything that I want. But in turn, I have to tell her everything about my life.
And how old were you when you came
17.
up with this?
I was 17, and we started our great friendly relationships.
And were you apprehensive at first? Were you like, oh, I'm not going to tell you everything?
No. It happened so
naturally, organically?
Yeah, it was organically, because in that moment when she found these cigarettes in my pocket, she didn't throw it away. It was like, no, it's horrible. What are you doing? You are a chain smoker. Or no, it didn't. It was like, okay, you want to smoke? You have a cigarette, you could smoke, and let's discuss it. So this dialogue happened when I was smoking on my balcony with my mom, and I was 17. And it was like, all the time when I'm talking about it, I'm thinking that I want to have the same conversation with my child.
That's pretty
It was
great.
it's not something that you could limit me. In that moment, she understood that if she would try to limit me in it, I would do it more.
Yeah, I've been there.
So the cue
With
for
my
it,
kids.
it's like, okay, I love him to do it.
Wow. So do you still smoke today?
No.
Oh, good.
I was smoking for 4 years, maybe from 17 till 22 or 23. And in that moment, I realized, like, okay, I was a chain smoker a lot. So I smoked maybe for 1 pack or 2 packs of cigarettes every day, and it was horrible. And in one moment, I stopped to do it. Maybe now I could smoke hookah or something like that, but not cigarettes.
Wow. Well, congratulations. That's huge, because that is not, of all the things in the world, quitting smoking isn't easy. So your mom was really spot on with that direction, that she allowed you have a say and a very open, honest relationship. That's very impressive. Where was she when my boys were little? And I was trying to figure it all out.
But what's weird about smoking, because my mom, she didn't smoke at all her life. So it was not like this story could be maybe more real if my mom smoked too, but she didn't.
So when you want to go off and do something fun with your mom, whether when you're younger, or did you get to take vacations together?
We start, if you're talking about vacation, no. Maybe my first vacation with parents. My mom, she has, like, I have stepdad. They are not in official relationships, so like they let's call them lovers. It's so young and horny word for this couple. So my mom, I have a stepdad, and she's in a good relationship with this man. So 2 years ago, we had our first vacation, and it was my initiative. Initiative, maybe I suppose it's quite right word. It was my idea, and we went together to Odessa. It's Ukrainian region, and we spent 3 or 4 days together, and it was quite fine. You know, maybe when you're under 25, you understand, or above 25, you understand how difficult to have this vacation with your parents.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you got to do that. That's really fun because you get to, well, you've had a great relationship from what you've told me. You've had a wonderful relationship with your mom, but then to go off and see her with someone that she's happy with and go and do fun things, and it's not so much mother-son, do this, do that, don't do this. It's really a wonderful opportunity to see her in a different light and to see her happy.
Yep. And now, I realized that 2 years ago I bought an apartment for my mom in Kiev. So now she's in this way from Chernihiv to Kiev, because Chernihiv was bombed a lot. But we didn't plan it before about this war. When I bought this apartment for my mom here in Kiev, I was thinking about her retirement, because when you're became older, you have to, when your mom became older, you have to take care of her. So I was thinking about it, that I don't have to go 150 kilometers from Kiev to another city. I want to do something immediately in 5 minutes from my apartment. So it's one of the main, maybe, option in our life with my mom.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Well, not many people are as fortunate as you and myself to have had a wonderful relationship with my mom. So I appreciate you sharing your story. What is the current situation like in Kyiv now for you, as far as the war goes? I mean, do you hear are sirens going off for you?
Yep. And what's weird, maybe it's horrible situation when you. For example, I haven't heard sirens for the last 5 days, for example, and I feel not so comfortable, because I understand that something would happen bad, because if you haven't heard sirens for 5 days, if the sirens every day, it's quite cheaper to go through this situation, because you understand, okay, and you don't live this regular life. In general, about situation and about sirens, Chernihiv was bombed a lot. It's my hometown when I spent my childhood and when I went to school, etc. And where is my mom living now currently, because she didn't relocate. She didn't relocate to Kiev by now, because we have to finish repair. And next to it, Chernihiv was bombed a lot, and a lot of infrastructure were ruined there. So it's not a good town for living now, but our government works on it. And I don't know how people feel them right now there, but not so good situation. In Kiev, time to time, we hear this air alert. We have a curfew, for example, as for now, we have a curfew from 11 p.m. till 5 a.m. You are not allowed to leave your apartment. So, for example, if you want to hang out with your friends and you could hear air alert if you hear it.
Are you, is it lights out at 5 p.m.?
Yeah, it's live sound. Could
Whoa,
you hear it?
that's an air raid siren going off in Kyiv right now as we're
Yeah,
speaking live. We have no idea how lucky we are.
yeah, I suppose that you would hear it again because it's maybe for 5 or 6 times per sound. It's it's quite funny because all the time when I communicate, could you hear?
Yes, I can hear the air raid siren as we're speaking.
So now I would change my location in my apartment. Wait a minute. It's for maybe 2 minutes because I have to protect myself in my apartment. And if you want to feel protected, you have to protect yourself in 2 ways. You could go to shelter. We have shelters in our apartment because our apartment is quite new, so we could hide in a shelter. It looks like parking spot. Or you could protect yourself and sit in your apartment, but have 2 walls between outside and you. So it's the second option, how you could protect yourself.
You're so calm. It's uncanny how calm you are.
Yeah.
And so you're going into your shelter.
No, I could, if you don't mind, I could show you. I'm sitting here in my apartment, these 2 walls, this wall and like this wall and this wall. It protects me from something that could be bad. So I have to have 2 walls. That's all. It's my short excursus in my life.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, thank you. But I just want to take a sec to explain to my listeners that Ivan just turned his camera on briefly to show me how he was moving so he would have 2 walls in between him and the front of his building. So that's technically his shelter. I'm speechless, really.
We live this way for 5 months. But, a lot of people ignore these air alerts, but I don't prefer to do it because maybe
it could save your life. Maybe it could
Yep.
save your life. Wow. Oh my gosh.
So it's currently about situation.
I guess it's the new normal. It's amazing how humanity adapts. Unfortunately, this is a war situation, but like you said, some people don't even pay attention to them. I know you're concentrating more on your YouTube channel. The name of your YouTube channel is Ivan About Ukraine.
Yep.
You have many, many videos posted. So, and Ivan is spelled I-V-A-N, and I'll spell your last name for them as well. It is Z-A-I, right? Z-A-I-E-T-S, correct? Z-A-I-E-T-S, correct. Okay, so tell us what your objective is with your page.
When I started this YouTube channel, I was thinking about showing people this war situation with Russia and blah, blah, blah. And then I realized that, okay, war will end sometime. I don't know when it would happen. And my channel, I don't want to focus my channel only on Russia-Ukraine war. And I started to create a lot of videos about how we live, what we eat, about fuel shortage, about, I don't know, maybe air alerts and something that connected with air alerts. So it's mostly about our routine. Maybe for somebody it would be interest, but the main idea of this channel that I'm interested in it.
You're interested in it, and if you're interested and you have a passion about something, then that's the best way to take on an endeavor. So I applaud you for doing that, and you're sharing all these stories with the world. So that's even more important and significant, let alone you sharing stories about your mother.
Thanks you, Jackie, for your job.
Ivan, thank you so much for joining us. Ivan Zaiets. Did I get it right? I should have listened to my mother. All right, we'll be in touch and I'll keep an eye on your YouTube page. Thank you, Ivan.
Okay, thank you for your...
Stay safe, please, and say hello to your mom.
I don't know how to end it.
So you could just say, thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie. That's all.
And we'll be back next week with another episode of Should Have Listened to My Mother.